there's a lot to be shocked about this week in Queensland politics. You know, cancer victims being stuck in Chindera motel rooms after burying their parents at funerals, other Queenslanders who couldn't get home. But almost the face of this whole farce became Little Memphis from the Hervey Bay region. The 3-year-old with the little angel face. We all saw him in the Courier Mail yesterday. He was big in the Daily Telegraph in Sydney too. Don't worry. And everyone thought this is just wrong because he went down and visited his grandparents at Griffith, because that's what happens. See, a lot of people try and live in this utopia that's Queensland and think no one ever goes anywhere. People go everywhere. We're one country. And he goes and visits his grandparents and he can't get home for 8 weeks, and everyone was just like scratching their heads and thinking it couldn't be so. Then Jeanette Young yesterday, the Chief Health Officer, was indignant about it and said, oh, look, you know, they never even applied for the kid to come back, which I know is just plain wrong, because Little Memphis's mum, Dominique, and the grandmum had too much detail from their phone calls that they had with Queensland Health. They couldn't have made this up in a grand conspiracy. It would have been like the imagination of the guy who writes the Jack Reacher novels to have come up with the story. I've got Dominique on the line now. How are you, Dominique?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Were you shocked yesterday when the Chief Health Officer, Jeanette Young, said you hadn't even asked for him to come home?
Oh, shocked, blown away. Absolutely blown away. We've made so many attempts to contact the Queensland Health Department, you know. Every time we'd spoken with the Queensland Health Department, it was basically, no, it's not going to get granted because we won't go into hotel quarantine, because I know that our circumstances are different. We didn't want to put him in hotel quarantine, and I certainly didn't want to get him flown to Sydney to a hotspot,
Yeah.
and then into Brisbane, into hotel quarantine where, well, that's where all your COVID positive cases come into Queensland. So
I think the story we've learned here, Dominique, is that when you're a regular person like yourself, and you and your partner and your grandparents, just regular people, regular Australians going about your business, when you interface with Queensland Health, because you're not an NRL, you're not an Australian cricket team, you don't have lobbyists and spin doctors and money, you're just a regular punter, that the wall you meet at Queensland Health is too great to penetrate. That's what I feel. Like, what's it like when you ring them? What happens?
It's pretty dull, to be honest, because they just tell you, you know, like, basically, if it's not under extreme circumstances, like you're travelling for a funeral or you're travelling to see a loved one that's dying, you know, it's really, really extreme, and the restrictions are so harsh coming back into Queensland. And, you know, like, it was something that was just, you know, my son just went down to see his grandparents on a property. You know, I honestly thought our case was going to be pretty cut and dry, because, you know, he's been in a regional area, no COVID. There hasn't been any COVID since the start of the pandemic. It was only like a handful of cases. And just for the fact, like, due to the fact that he was so isolated and he hadn't been in contact with, you know, other people or any hotspots or anything like that. So I honestly thought, you know, I thought, oh, well, surely they'll be pretty lenient when it comes to this, because he honestly hasn't been anywhere. You know, he hasn't travelled. He's just gone down onto a property in New South Wales with his grandparents. And
you live on acreage too. You live on acreage, and he can stay there for the 14 days. He's 3.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I said to him, like, look, I'll sign any form of whatever paperwork you'd like me to sign. I'll do anything. I'll sell you my bloody soul at this point.
Yeah.
I'll bring him straight home, and we won't move from home. Even speaking with them yesterday, like the Queensland Health Department said, you know, it would have been most likely denied if we were to travel by road. So we had, thankfully, Angel Flight have so generously, you know, arranged flights for Memphis to come from Griffith directly to Brisbane, and then arranged me to go from Hervey Bay directly to Brisbane to bring him back to Hervey Bay. I cannot thank Angel Flight enough.
They're good people.
And,
we've dealt with them on this show. They're amazing.
They are just, you know what, everyone I've dealt with from Angel Flight have been nothing but great and really, really lovely people. They've been so easy to deal with and, you know, just so compassionate. They're just a great bunch of people, and I'm extremely over the moon to be jumping on that plane today down to Brisbane to see my son.
So they're going to fly you from
long
Harvey Bay to
8 weeks.
Brisbane. They're going to fly you from Harvey Bay to Brisbane. They're flying Memphis and his grandparents. Are they going to be on the plane too?
Just his grandmother, so he can only have one grandparent.
Okay, one
accompanying him
grandparent
to Brisbane.
brings him into Brisbane. Then she flies back to Griffith, and then you take him up to Harvey Bay. See,
Yeah.
Angel Flight, that's what happens when people want to solve a problem, not create one. The Queensland Health created a problem. They solved it. Hey, that's a great result, Dominique. Well done to you. Enjoy seeing Memphis today. All of Queensland was behind you with your story, and you got the right result in the end.
Yeah, thank you. I can't thank everyone enough for all their support, all their love, everyone that's gotten behind us and, supported us to get him home. I can't thank Angel Flight enough. I can't thank everyone enough. It's just, I'm so overwhelmed and just so finally happy that I'll be able to see my little boy today.
Amazing. Hey, just before you go, one thing. How many phone calls to Queensland Health do you reckon you and your grandma made?
Oh, gosh. You know what? Mum had made quite a few and I'd made quite a few. I wouldn't even be able to put a number on it for you because I'd rung them quite a few times. And, I'd been researching on the internet ways around this, how we can do it.
Yeah.
And it was just to no end.
Yeah.
And, lastly, I want to, I cannot express enough how much it means to us to finally get him home, and just to all those people that are in our situation that are stopped by border restrictions, they're away from their loved ones, stand up and say something. Get your story out there because it's not fair.
It's the only way.
My heart goes out. Yeah, my heart goes out to each and every one of you. I know there are so many other people in our situation that are going through exactly the same thing we're going through. And I just, please get your story out there. Keep fighting to get home.
Well said. Good on you, Dominique. Have a great day.